Hello, my name is Thomas Holland and you're watching Throttle House. Kia has flown us to Montreal so that we can look at the brand new 2019 Kia Forte, which according to them has lots of elements of the Kia Stinger trickled down into its design. And you can kind of see in the front grille and the steering wheel, looks a little bit Kia Stinger-ish. However, it is not a Kia Stinger, it is a front-wheel drive compact sedan, but that's not a bad thing. I like these things. I like the idea of the engineering challenge of making a sedan that is fuel efficient, practical, comfortable, and still maybe a little bit fun to drive. So this is the top trim level. We're going to go for a drive on some back roads in Montreal to see if this is a car that you should consider over something like a Honda Civic. Kia has made a serious effort here to pack as many features into this little car as they can, and intelligently they focused on the middle trim, the EX, which is the one that most of you will buy, and made sure it had some good kit, like LED headlights, wireless phone charger, and the safety features, rear cross traffic alert, blind spot detection, and all that. But for me, as always, I'm curious about how it drives. On any car in the market, I'm still most concerned about refinement and driver enjoyment. Call me crazy, but I'm worried that cars are becoming hollow, soulless econoboxes, and I'm here to find out if this Kia feels as cheap as it's priced. Spoiler alert, I was pleasantly surprised. So, the Kia Forte, what's it like to drive? Well, one of the first things you notice is that it feels very refined, and one of the ways they did that is they put a really high quality steering wheel in this. This actually reminds me of BMW's leather that they put on their steering wheel. The steering wheel's shape and design is fantastic, and it's like a centerpiece of the car. Obviously, you look at the steering wheel when you get in the car, and it really adds to the premium feel. And the materials in here are very nice. We've got some stitching in this trim level on the dashboard. And the center console, the center stack here, it visually is very nice. And we have hard buttons. This infotainment is fantastic. It's the same one that's in most of Hyundais and Kias right now, and I love it. I always have. I think it's easy, it's intuitive, it's simple to use, but more about the driving. Now, this continuously variable transmission that they insist on calling an IVT, intelligent variable transmission, I think, it is completely out of your way when normal driving. But what happens when we put our foot down? We're in smart mode right now. Okay, so we're at about 1,300 RPM, foot down. It goes right to 5,000 immediately, and it pulls us with a whopping 147 horsepower. That's not a lot. It has even less torque than that, but surprisingly it feels quicker than it is because this car doesn't weigh very much. And for the fact that it doesn't weigh very much, it's actually impressively quiet. It is not the quietest car ever. There's definitely still, it's wet right now, so it's even worse than normal. So it is definitely got some road noise and tire noise coming through, but it's better than some, for sure. Now, one thing that I do like about it is that there's a very solid feel to the steering. So we're in smart mode right now. I'm going to put it in sport as we turn on to an on-ramp here. Foot down. It simulates shifts, and in sport mode it's even more aggressive. But the thing that I like about sport mode is that it adds a little bit of weight to the steering. This is not a Lotus. It's not meant to feel like that. It never was. But there definitely is some confidence to the steering. No complaints there, really. This isn't meant to be a sports car, so I'm not going to talk about that too much. We're going to put it in smart mode, which will change depending on how much you drive aggressively. So if you're just cruising, it will keep you in eco mode. You put your foot down like this, it will switch you over into sport mode and tighten everything up just a little bit, which is nice. The engine response is actually quite good. Off the line, it feels a little bit, there's like a moment where it's like, okay, let's get the revs up for the CVT. But when you're up at speed, putting your foot down, it will change the ratio really, really quickly, which is nice, right? This is an in-house transmission for Kia, and it's actually a chain drive continuous variable transmission, which is kind of neat. It seems to respond very well. I don't actually have any problems with it. You're not going to notice. It's not going to be a thing. I had a Nissan Versa about 10 years ago, not even, less than that, and that CVT was horrendous. You just put your foot down and it would just go and keep it at that level until you got up to speed, and it was annoying all of the time. This one does a good job of staying out of your way. There you go. Now, do we have paddle shifters? We do not. I can manually shift, which is weird in a CVT. This actually gives me numbers. So downshift, and it simulates little gears. That's kind of neat. Foot down in third, nothing there at all. It won't let me go to second. It actually does better in auto mode. We'll leave it in auto mode. The ride is pretty good. We were just on some really bumpy road, and I wasn't upset by the fact that this has torsion beam rear suspension. This does not have independent rear suspension like the Elantra Sport. It doesn't really give you any like unsettling movements over rough pavement, which is nice. As a passenger, it's decent. It does not feel like a premium German sedan without a question, but it is completely acceptable, and 99% of the people that are going to buy this car are not going to notice or care at all. Now, the rest of the interior, we're going to talk about that now because that is a highlight of this car. So in the EX trim level, which is the one that most of you would buy, which is about 20,000 Canadian, you get some of the active safety features, which actually work surprisingly well. And when you end up in the higher level luxury trims, which go all the way up to $28,000 Canadian, you get a fairly luxurious car, to be honest. You've got heated and cooled seats in this trim level and a heated steering wheel. And we have some lane keep assist systems that are really super impressive. So watch this. Okay, so I'm going to set my cruise control, which is active. I'm going to turn my windshield wipers on. Okay, cruise is on. Set my speed and set my max speed, which I will set at the speed limit. That's right. And it will drive for me pretty much completely, right? So, there, it figured out where the line is, keeps me in the center of the lane. It goes around corners at highway speeds without any issues whatsoever. You're supposed to keep 2 fingers or whatever on the steering wheel. To be perfectly honest, you can drive this with no hands. It will do the distance of the car in front of you, and it will turn the corner. It's actually very impressive. This is a relaxing car to drive. In this price point, I can't argue with that. It is definitely a nice, relaxing car to drive. The only issue that I have with it is that since it's so light, it gets good fuel economy, and we're dealing with a pretty low-powered engine, it's kind of loud now that I'm on the highway. At highway speeds, especially now that it's wet, there's quite a lot of road noise. Better than some cars, but it is not quiet. Okay? That's probably the major downside. So, it just beeped at me because we went over the lane. Now, the rest of the interior, though, does feel well made, except for this little center console. We have a real handbrake, by the way. These handbrake turns in the wintertime. We have a plastic center console area, and this armrest is a little bit okay? However, you don't notice that as a passenger. And right now, I'm going to show you what it's like to be a passenger. And we are in the passenger seat now. It's really comfortable over here as well, actually. I've got a tremendous amount of legroom, so much that I can't even reach my feet all the way to the front with my seat in this position, and behind me, there's more than enough room for somebody to sit. That's actually really impressive. The materials over on this side are the same as the driver's side, obviously, and they're actually quite good. I mean, the armrest feels a little bit rubbery and cheap, but it's in a really good spot, and these seats, which are height adjustable, as it turns out, I found, are comfortable. You could put some miles in this car from the passenger perspective and it wouldn't be an issue at all. I also have heated and cooled seats in this trim level, and as the passenger, I can just reach the infotainment if I was to put my seat up a little bit. But if I was to put my seat all the way back, I do have to lean to tune and volume. However, I slide my seat up into a position where I can reach it, I'm even closer now, and I can reach the infotainment perfectly and still have a really good passenger driving position. So I've got absolutely no complaints from this end of the car either, because this is a pleasant car to drive. Do I wish that it was faster? Yes, I absolutely wish that this was a faster car. I think it should be turbocharged because there's some potential here for this to be a sporty car, a fun car to drive. I think that if you made a sport model with a limited slip differential up front, independent rear suspension, and a turbocharged motor, this could actually be a pretty fun little sedan to zip around in. All right? I think it would go head-to-head with the Elantra Sport easily. But right now, it's focused on just being a good quality economy car for people to purchase. There is a very large range of Fortes, right? So you can get one that's very basic that has hubcaps and cloth seats, and you can get a manual in the base trim level, but you can't get a manual in these upper trims, which is kind of a bit of a bummer if you ask me. Now, this one that I'm in right now is pushing almost $30,000. That's a lot of money. But it comes with features that you would expect nowadays on a $30,000 car. Infotainment, Apple CarPlay, which is standard in the base, right? But I've got all the rest of the interior features that you could ever possibly want really in a car. Any more features that you'd want in a car, period, you're looking at premium German manufacturers. There's no way around that. I do wish that it had a little bit more power. I think that this Kia should be a little bit sportier as it is, a little bit more torque, because nowadays we're so used to cars with small engines with twin scroll turbochargers, which will kind of whump you off the line with a lot of torque really quickly. This one doesn't really seem to do that. That's a bit of a bummer. However, Kia Forte 2019, I like this car. Thank you for watching. My name is Thomas Holland. You've been watching Throttle House. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. Got lots more reviews and first drives like this coming at you very soon. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at The Throttle House, and I have a website, thethrottle.house.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.